Today we are learning basketball with Ryan Miller, the head basketball coach at Murray State University, coming off 4 years as the assistant coach at Creighton with over 2 decades of college basketball coaching experience, UNLV, Auburn, New Mexico, Memphis. You've coached under John Calipari, obviously Greg McDermott, Steve Alford, Tony Barbie, Dave Rice, and grew up in South Dakota with you and the family. South Dakota basketball. Really making a name for yourself. So how you doing today, Ryan? And I'd love to just hear a little bit about your background of what South Dakota basketball means to you and your family growing up.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, number one. But obviously, growing up in South Dakota, especially at the time I played there and was a high school player there, and I went to college at a small college, Northern State in Aberdeen, South Dakota, where basketball was very popular, especially at the time I was growing up in Mitchell. We had a head coach there named Coach Gary Munson, who was a legendary coach. He's in the South Dakota Hall of Fame, won many, many state championships. And I can remember growing up when I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and all I really wanted to do was be a Mitchell Colonel basketball player. So I got to realize that out in high school, and we won a state championship alongside my brother Jared, and then my brother Mike followed me after that, and it was just awesome experience. I had great parents that helped me, that gave me the platform and pushed me every single day to live the basketball life, which has done a lot of things. I always say, growing up in Mitchell, South Dakota, you wouldn't think that you travel the world like I have. And the round thing behind me, the basketball, has been a blessing to me and my family. My brother played 17 years in the NBA. I've had a great coaching career with many great coaches, whether they coached me or coached with or for. So the basketball, the round thing has blessed me and my family with a lot of great things, and we hope that continues.
Absolutely. So how would you say that playing experience helped mold and influence your coaching perspective and
Yep,
be able to kind of look at the lens through
for
the
sure.
player on the court?
Well, again, I played for a legendary high school coach in South Dakota, a guy named Gary Munson. He was disciplined. He was tough. You had to be very physically and mentally tough to play for him. He kind of came down and he studied Bob Knight, so he came from the Bob Knight system of and style of coaching, very authoritative, which is good. It taught me if I wanted anything, I had to work very, very hard, and nothing was easy and nothing was given. You have to go take what you want, and the margins and the are very small, and the discipline and the way you have to go things is very, very challenging, right? So I learned that, and then I played for a coach, another legendary coach named Bob Olson, who was one of the best Division II basketball coaches in the country at the time, and still it was. He's not coaching anymore, but he was a great basketball coach. He allowed freedom, a little bit more different than Coach Munson's style, where he was very disciplined. He allowed players to have freedom. So those different stylistic approaches, how to coach players, were definitely beneficial to my overall development as a coach.
And coming into Murray State, what are your goals just as head coach implementing, your principles to help define a culture? Are there anything concept wise or identity wise that right out of the gate, almost no matter who's wearing the uniform, that you just want to emphasize from day one as a part of the team culture?
Yeah, again, I've been lucky. I've been blessed to work with many, many good coaches and great coaches, and been around many great coaches from Calipari to Tony Barbie to Steve Alford to Coach Dixon and Coach most recently Coach McDermott at Creighton. But my general philosophy, I'm not a big rule guy. I'm gonna have three non-negotiables pretty much. You're gonna be unselfish, number one. Like you're gonna go from good to great passes. Selfish players are not going to be in our program. We're not going to recruit selfish players. Take a line from Coach McDermott. We're not going to recruit selfish players and try to make them unselfish. We're going to recruit unselfish people with high character, and because it's very difficult to make guys that's all about me, more about we. So we're going to strategize in our recruiting philosophy that make sure that we do not recruit selfish people. Two, we're going to be tough. Use another Bob Knight saying, 4-1. 4 is the mental, 1 is the physical. We're going to have mental and physically tough players. They're going to make tough plays. They're going to deal with adversity and push through adversity. And 3, we're going to compete. We're going to compete every day, every drill, every second, so that we're the ultimate competitors, to be honest with you. We're going to compete to win. To take a line from Denny Green, you play to win the game. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to compete, and we're going to try to win basketball games.
Hey, that's the real culture that you want to help build, and that toughness, that competitive fire, just translates to every level. I feel like, especially in speaking of Murray State, obviously Ja Morant is alum from there.
Yep.
Is he involved with the program at this point? Is there any? There's all these new roles as the NIL landscape changes. Any talks about bringing him in to help with recruitment or anything like that down the line?
Of course, we'd love to bring Ja in. Ja is a big-time ambassador of our program. Obviously, one of the best, if not the best player ever to play at Murray State. Obviously, having an illustrious NBA career. But yeah, we would love to have Ja's support, and yeah, he means the world to this program. We have his Ja logo all over the building because we really want to honor him and honor his legacy.
So your brother Mike Miller, what I gotta ask, what were those basketball games in the driveway like? I mean, I know with me and my brother, they're getting competitive as heck. So I'm sure at that level, it's just a whole nother level of
Yeah.
one on one ego mano a mano. Like, did you have the edge in the driveway for a certain while? What was that one on one like?
Yeah, we're old school, so we definitely grew up in the driveway. Back in the day, to say I'm dating myself, back in the day, you did play in the driveway. I'm 4 years older than my brother Mike. I have a middle brother named Jared, and then I have a younger brother named Mike, and then I have a younger sibling, my sister Chelsea. But those early years were very competitive. The good thing, being 4 years older than him, I got the most out of him for the most part. But I remember a story. I mean, I was a pretty decent basketball player. I was a Division II All-American at Northern State University. So I was going in between my junior and senior year at college, and I was home for the summer. And Mike was out with his friends, and he comes back with some like jeans and Doc Martin boots, and he's going junior year to senior in high school, and I'm going junior year, senior in college. So I think I'm pretty good. I was, like I said, a Division II All-American, so I had some accolades behind me. And I remember playing him one-on-one in the driveway after he rolled home, like at 11 o'clock at night. And I beat him playing one-on-one, and he had Doc Martens on, and I had a pair of basketball shoes on. But it took everything I had to beat him. And I was like, I remember going to my father and saying, man, I don't know how good he's going to be, but your son's going to be really, really, really good. And I refused to play him after that, so I still claimed the belt of the one-on-one championship because I knew that wouldn't last very much longer.
That's how you do it. You retire on top with the trophy, with the bragging rights
Exactly.
before you could see the future coming.
Yeah, I saw the future, and I knew it didn't have me winning many more one-on-one battles, so I abruptly stopped.
It sounds relatable. I'm a big brother as well, so I had the back down, post up from the 3-point line move for a while, but he ended up getting a little farther than me as well in basketball. So I saw the future coming. Just got past the torch eventually in the driveway.
Hey,
The mantle.
you can have your younger brother have those bragging rights for a lifetime. Once I got it done, I was like, I remember telling my dad he's gonna be really special, and I was like, I'm not. I thought in my head, I'm not going to play him again one-on-one.
There it is. There it is. You got the bragging rights for
Yeah.
life that way. I love it. I love it. So, on some of your past experience here, especially with Creighton, one of my favorite teams, I got to say off the top, that just to watch these past few years, I would love to just be looking for a random live college basketball, and I would always find Creighton just playing. It always felt like the same three teams, but I was always excited for the matchups, like this Big East, just putting basketball back where in the Big East where it feels right, and just love these epic matchups. Are there any is there any one moment or experience that stands out to you? And obviously maybe it's a big win, making these Sweet 16s, making the Elite Eights, knocking off these number one seeds with Baylor at the time in 23 and UConn in 24. And maybe it was just standing up to some adversity where you were proud of the way your team responded. Just any favorite experiences with these Creighton groups over the last few years?
Yeah, obviously working with Coach McDermott, one of the best coaches in the country, is awesome to be by his side. But yeah, lots of memorable moments. I mean, we're the first Creighton team that's beat a number one team, beating UConn at home 2 years ago. Then last year we followed it up by beating number one Kansas. So those are very memorable moments. Obviously going to Elite Eight, losing the way we did was not wasn't a great memory, but it was a very challenging memory. Obviously, losing at the end with a foul called with like 0.3 seconds left against San Diego State to go to the Final Four was a great memory to get there, but also the very challenging adversity that hit by getting called with a foul late in the game like that. So that was a great memory, but so many great memories with so many great players: the Trey Alexanders, the Baylor Shireman's, the Ryan Kalkbrenners, the Nembhards, the Kalumas, the Mason Millers, and all these great players that were there, the Stephen Ashworths, make those memories so awesome. The relationships you build with the coaching staff, the Alan Husses and the Derek Kellogg's and the Jeff Banner-Lews and the Jalen Courtney-Williams and the Trey Zieglers, all these great relationships you build with both your players and your coaches are the memories you take forth with you.
Those are the people that I wanted to hear a little bit more about as well. Just, what Ryan, obviously you got up close with Ryan Kalkbrenner for years now, 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All Big East. He's been a staple of the program for years. I was wondering what he's like as a person off the court, as a teammate, just getting to know him over the years, and some of those other players as well. Just any thoughts on Trey Alexander and Ryan Nembhard, Arthur Kaluma were some more names I was just about to ask you about.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ryan Kalkbrenner and all those guys are ultimate professionals. They're passionate about the game. They're sponge for information. They want to be coachable. So when you get kids like that, it makes our job so much better. They listen. They want to execute plays, execute schemes. They worked very, very hard. They're very passionate about what they did. So usually when you have those things, the success of both the team and individuals follow. And that's what those characteristics those guys had. They came every day to work. They had no bad days, and they were awesome to work with, whether it was Baylor, Trey, Kalkbrenner, Nembhard, Kaluma, any Jemiah Neal we just had with us at Creighton, Stephen Ashworth. I mean, I'm missing names, but Jackson McAndrew is going to have a great career that we coached last year. I'm missing names, but they're all pleasant to coach. I mean, I don't remember having a kid that I just really hated coaching the time at Creighton.
And with Coach McDermott as well, obviously he's been holding down the program for what feels like forever, just like the face of the program. And what lessons would you say you came away with, knowledge, any tidbits that kind of stick with you from working with Coach Greg McDermott over the years?
Yeah, obviously, Coach McDermott, I was blessed and lucky to coach with him for 4 years. The stylistic and the schemes, how he approaches the game. He is not a yeller or screamer. He's a teacher, and he gives teammates and coaches himself confidence. At Creighton, we did a true offensive, defensive, almost a football-like coaching scheme where I had the offense the last few years and Coach Kellogg had the defense. So he allows a lot of confidence into his coaches, and he gives them form and platform to be able to coach. And I'd say that's the same for the players. As long as you work hard and you're not selfish and you make the right plays, you have the freedom to make plays. Whether it's missed or made shots, whether it's aggressive turnover, as long as it's not a selfish play, he lets his players play. And be able to be in that culture and that situation for the past 4 years will give me a lot of information and a lot of mentorship to carry on here at Murray.
And so we have two sets here from your time with Creighton, where wanted to see your thoughts on kind of what makes these two plays effective. Shout out Coach Gibson Piper, Half Court Hoops, putting them on Twitter for us here. But you had this something like a home run play that you were able to use twice. First of all, how many times do you practice this play just for this moment, where you only get to use this type of a play maybe once or twice the entire season?
Yeah, well, again, one was late in the game, the second half, and Louisville's trying to make a comeback, and this is first half where we knew St. John's is going to have full court pressure. It's a play that we run when they got 5 guys up, when they bring their bigs up and decide to guard our 5 men. That it's a play that we can try to hit them with a home run play, where we bring all the guys and we push them all up the floor, get everybody lifted up the floor, and then we come back with the guy that has our most athletic guy. So as you can see, Jemiah Neal, we're all pressing up the floor. Then we set this little stagger screen right there. And then you get the home run play because everybody's up the floor guarding man-to-man aggressively. But yeah.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, as I say, it's a play that we practice. We don't. I wouldn't say we practice a lot, but going into the week of practice, where we know teams are going to do this, we will practice it every day going into that special situation.
There you go. And that's something I was wondering. Is this something you notice in the middle of the game that this is how they're guarding you full court, or beforehand this is generally their full court pressure? Because usually you would leave like your center back at half court, so this sort of thing doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, we knew that St. John's likes to come up and pressure with Zubi Ejiofor. So obviously this one we had prepped for this game, and we knew that at some point in the game they were going to come up and try to deny everything. And so we had that play designed and ready to go for that game. I'd say probably this one we did not know, but we fortunate enough we're up 77-63 at the moment, so Louisville has to get more aggressive. So I think this was out of a timeout, out of the 4-minute media timeout. So he drew it up and said we're going to go back to the play. That's a special play, obviously, that we have in our repertoire, in our bag.
And I bet it feels extra great, a little more confident in the huddle at that point, knowing you guys have practiced this and prepared this for one situation, and now you can just pull it out of the bag at a moment's notice when you notice it's useful.
Yeah, exactly. And coming out of a timeout, knowing that Louisville is going to be aggressive, is a time that we thought that we could put this game away and put it on ice if we were able to score against their pressure, to be able to come out of timeout and execute it. And then you need players that listen and understand, and then be able to go out there and execute the play, which we did here.
There it is. And I got one more play for you here. He's labeled it Horns Touch Shallow. I believe you have another name for it. It is probably a few iterations.
Yeah, it's a horn set, obviously. We call it a little something different in our playbook, but yeah, it's basically what you said. It's horns. There's the horns catch, touch back to our point guard right there, and then shallow cut underneath. And basically what we're trying to do, we'll bring our 5 men and whoever we want to come underneath. We see them switching, so we want to confuse the switch like in a doubles action. So we come together, we clear out the side, pause it real quick. You can pause it, yeah. So we'll do it if we feel like they're switching the screen there with Baylor. So so they have no tag either. So on the roll man, I don't know what happens here at the end of this play, but I'm guessing by us clearing out the tag guy, they're confused with the tag, and they're confused with the switch also with Baylor. Because he gets out there in a shallow cut. So hit play. Yeah, clear that guy out. So now the guy that's supposed to tag does not become the tag, and the guy that was guarding Baylor knows it's an emergency because Kalkbrenner puts so much pressure on the rim that Baylor's wide open on the throwback.
There it is. What goes into the sequencing of the play calling when, like, is there something you see to know to call something like this instead of just a plain old horns or a different variation of horns? Or is this just through the flow of the game, just something that you pull out as a different option?
Well, obviously, when we go through our scouting process, we'll put a hot list together of plays that we think will work, depending how defenses are guarding. Here it is again, obviously. So here they get caught on the tag. If teams tend to tag out of the corners and stuff, we want to confuse that tag a lot. So us moving that guy out of the corner, the strong side corner, moving him out, probably confuses the tag. You see right there, the kid was in tag position, and then we move him out, so now they don't know who's tagging. So now that puts a lot of pressure on the kid guarding Baylor Shireman, whether he's going to tag or stay with Baylor. Or sometimes they're switching and they get confused with the switch. So if they're switching out like that and they get confused who to take, kind of like they're there. It's just a lot of movement, try to create confusion, try to move the tag guy around, try to confuse the tag guy. So, yeah, see the tag guy get confused there. This time Nembhard finds out or makes the read, finds the tag. There we go, throwback post. So there's like different options. Princeton there was doubling the post, so we were able to get him in rotations. And once you get teams in rotations, especially us, we're able to find ways to make plays.
And is there one specific goal here with this play, or is it more so multiple, options of goals with creating the best advantage?
Yeah. I think what you said, creating the best advantage. I mean, as you see these different plays, I mean, there's one where the kid comes off, shoots the three, right? Same play. One time we confuse the tag enough where the roll man, Kalkbrenner, is wide open for the dunk. Like this one. So they don't know where the tag's coming from because we're moving people's bodies around. So we're confusing where they're tagging, so they don't know where the tag's coming from. So it's a multiple option play, like you've seen. We threw back post. We come off ball screen and shoot. There's just different options that you can go off after, but more than anything is the teams that are heavy tagging. We will come in and run this play. Are the teams that are switching that second screen? We want to confuse that guy right coming up here. We want to confuse. We get out a little early, but confuse that guy so the guy's not switching. There's a reject, obviously, but there's different options that play. And most importantly, when we go through the scouting process, we'll look at two things really. Are they switching that last screen in the doubles? Then we'll ghost them out early. If they're tagging from one specific area, we want to move that tag guy around so they get confused where they're tagging from.
There it is. The many options are created there, and as you pointed out, you can open up the shooter, you can open up the roller, and
Here they're strong side tagging, so Nembhard makes the play, the read to the strong side corner. So
there it is. And just to clarify for me and anyone watching, the touch part of this element would be the pass here to the screener and the pass back to the point guard.
the horns is a set, which is obviously too big on the elbow or above the elbow set. The touch is the pass, and the recatch real quick, hand back, and then the shallow is the shallow cut or a ghost cut by Baylor right there.
Okay, where he cuts out to the perimeter. And then you have another popper, you have the roller with the mismatch, and you probably create a mismatch or an advantage from especially if they're switching or not.
Yes, sir.
Well, there it is. I appreciate you diving into some of these clips here, and just wanted to hear a little bit of how the how the food is cooked there in the Creighton kitchen and all that, because it's just a joy. It feels very modern. Like sometimes you can watch college hoops and think something's a little outdated, or like you've saw that offense like years ago and it's a little stuck. Like not a y'all's program at Creighton. Like the ball is moving. There are screens being set endlessly. Like it just feels like a good flow of your offensive identity knows what they're looking for. They know the next action, the next screen that's coming, and it just flows very well, and it has for years. So I'm glad we dove in a little bit to the film to hear how the sausage is made a little bit on that end. So one last question for you. You said you had experience with Coach Cal as well. Was there any lessons or any kind of memories there that stick with you from that experience?
Oh yeah, Coach Cal, obviously Hall of Fame basketball coach, one of the best coaches in the country, and be able to work with them at the age I was at. I think I was 25 or 26 years old. Early in my coaching career, just being able to learn from him. His unbelievable canniness and charisma to hold a room, to captivate an audience, to recruit and market a program is as good as anybody in the country. And to be able to watch him do that, be able to learn from him those 3 years, especially being that young in my coaching career, was obviously a foundation that needed to be set, and it's helped me recruit over the years because of his excellence and his ability to do it at such a high level.
There it is. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today, Ryan. It was a joy just hearing your experience, your story, and your perspective, and the coaching identity you want to help establish here at Murray State. Excited to see this upcoming season. Really appreciate all you've done at Creighton and just your family and the basketball world over the years. Shout out Mike as well. He's a Magic legend. I got T-Mac over my shoulder. Like I was there watching those games. I'm a Magic guy, so I was there with my dad growing up, watching Mike, hitting those threes for forever. So shout out to you and the fam, and I really appreciate you taking the time today, Ryan.
No, I really appreciate having us on, and I watched those Magic days were awesome with T-Mac, and I'm excited about what we got going on here at Murray, and excited about the staff that we assembled and the players coming in, and what kind of culture we're going to build here. I've had a lot of great mentors, and to be able to pass those mentorship and things I've learned from the great coaches I've worked with and the great players I've worked with is going to be an awesome experience.
Absolutely. And, I might, one parting thought would be, do you have any advice for someone hoping to break into basketball, whether it's on the coaching side or front office, scouting, agent, anything, any thoughts there for just someone hoping to break in?
Yeah, just obviously work tirelessly. I mean, it's a hard profession to break in because there's so many people that want to do it. but just work tirelessly, be consistent, be persistent, all those kind of buzzwords, but they're so true. Be available and accessible at any hour of the day, really. And, once you do that and you are available and you have a purpose, you'll shoot up the ladder, because coaches want guys, and management and people that are in charge of making personnel decisions want people in their camp that are going to work tirelessly and do it unselfishly and try to help a team win. And those kind of characteristics help teams win.
There it is. Keep showing up. Wise words of wisdom here to end the pod on. Thanks again, Ryan. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Learning Basketball is a Swish Theory podcast hosted from Beyond the Arcade. Hey, that's me. You can find my work on Twitter, YouTube, Substack, and check out the team's writing at theswishtheory.com.